Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Ringroo, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we are on the rarely seen map of Ostrono today for our monthly tournament coverage. And shockingly enough, neither one of these guys is a Finn. Rang, who do we have?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Hypokrass playing 17th SS with Maverick income. Right hand side in red, we have 44th Guard Trelawney being piloted by Tonnoman, also with a Maverick income.
You know, I gotta. Yeah, I was just gonna call that out. Graham over here is like, oh, I rolled my ankle. I guess I'll have to walk.
Yeah. Oh no, the war's over here. I'll be over here eventually. Hopefully, it's still on.
Exactly. The whole jeep to the Russian front said, you know what? I'll go to the Russian front, but slowly.
Not Russian at all.
No, not Russian indeed. Now, in the meantime, you gotta love 17th SS because of their wonderful little scout car openings. Of course, the scout cars, as we've seen right here, just because they are very killy doesn't mean they can take a whole lot of killing on their side.
And we're seeing a pretty classic push for the northern hill forest. That's such a vital area on this map, as whoever controls that forest can pretty much control the hill just south of it. So the Germans are going to be getting in there. But at the same time, they're asking to have some nasty flamethrower boys.
Yes, they certainly do, and the Superiors kind of go and kind of walk point with them as well. Yeah, understrength squads by comparison, but I don't know. If that SPW wasn't there, it'd be a very, very different conversation.
Yeah, I think the 2-3 runs are really going to come in clutch. A pretty good micro of the flamethrower troops up north. Managed to do a decent amount of damage on the Panda Grenadiers, just not enough for Ava to clear them out, but does cause a little bit of havoc.
Yes, it does. And I guess that's kind of the curious thing, is that we are seeing the very aggressive opening by comparison to a much more, I would say, considered approach with the guard squads by seeing Superiors at PPSHs instead. Not unusual. But when you have Pigrins, even if all those Pigrins don't in fact have anti-tank capability, that's going to be kind of an uphill battle in more ways than one.
Yeah, you definitely will want some anti-tank troops, or just anti-tank in that forest is bringing up the Marder Freeze, because the T-34 is coming in hot, and that can be a pretty nasty tank to deal with.
Oh, we guess you got to see the wonderful little tank rider thing actually happening here. It gets less suppression. Tango Days on Nikki next to that T-34-85. Of course, the new traits we get to see not that often really being utilized. And I get the feeling we're going to see a bombing run happening sooner or later. Whenever I see an attack beacon dropped on an AT gun, I'm thinking to myself, that's going to happen, regardless.
Yep. Eventually some IL-2 will blow it up. But let's look at the rest of the map. Down south is pretty quiet. Well, quiet in the sense that not much is going on, but much will go on soon, because you actually have a pretty aggressive push here on the far southern side of this map of all these SS Legionaries going through the trees, and they do like some Total War style ambush here.
Yeah, and when you're Russian, you kind of have to be a little bit concerned when the forest starts speaking German to you. You're like, dude, wait, I'm in Poland. And we're not seeing anything happen just yet, but I feel like this is the beginning of a 40k mission.
Yeah.
You said Total War, but...
Forest.
Exactly. Let's see. SU-76 coming up. So there's opportunities here to actually have some more devastating outcomes. But for right now, the T-34-76 says, whoops, I'm going to back up. And I'm wondering, will he back up into the Legionary? I think could see him. They do see him.
Yeah, he's going to get very close.
And he's going to engage. So this is... Oh, man, those police, they could have had the drop on him.
They could have
had the drop on him.
But it's very interesting seeing this sort of push happen down south, because the southern side of this map is usually just very bloody quiet. So sneaking a lot of forces to the far southern side here. The supply line isn't great, but if he can secure this forest, which should be pretty easy if this is a bit more aggressive, that does allow you to actually continue to push down south to actually clear out some of these more southern flags, which can actually open up some really good opportunities on this map.
I'm sorry, I was watching the 70-kilogram clusters drop down on these T-34 and doesn't kill. That is a big problem with the Ju-88S1.
Yeah.
So, we don't see this guy very often, but clusters are meant to drop well in a cluster, and that's kind of much more of like a discount, I would argue, just ground attack bomber.
Yeah, and this is pretty much going to open up the forest for Tonnoman here, and that's going to be very good for him. Because if he can hold his forest in the northern part, that pretty much shuts down reinforcements, but also he can keep putting more pressure up north. There's really not a whole lot of Germans yet, and maybe try to clear out that town. So I think we're going to see probably a northern aggression for Tonnoman, and depending if, well, Hypokrass decided to go a bit more aggressive down south, he could really open up that side of the map.
You know, this is maybe a very, very tangential question, but do you ever think the U2 LMBs, especially for the 44th, are meant to emulate the Night Witches?
Yeah. Yeah, especially for how bloody slow they are.
Well, in the 50 kg bombs and everything like that, I mean, they're practically throwing hand grenades over the side, but I actually really like this use of 3 of them. I mean, if you're looking over here at the 17th SS, you gotta know that generally speaking, 17th SS doesn't seem to run a lot of air power, and indeed, that's not the case here. So, having a ton of recon, you have tons of eyes across the map, especially the northern side, and like you said, we know there's not a lot of Germans here now. And you have a little bit of extra suppression if you need it. So, great opportunities. I really actually kind of love this play.
Yeah, the cheap recon plane stories, especially in maps like this, but especially in A phase when there's not a whole lot of anti-air, you can get a lot of value, because Tonnoman is just spotting the entire German frontier and all of these reinforcements, because there's not a whole lot of cover for him to take cover in.
Well, even better, too, is that the only way he's going to actually combat this is by spending points on that interceptor. He doesn't get any actually anti-air until B phase. Now, he does get SDK of Z71s, and he does have a lovely, lovely, 88 mils. But right now, he either has to inject a lot of income, which then will be, dueling over top this 25 mil, which he knows is there, or it's just got to suffer the fact that you cannot do anything about the enemy recon.
Yeah, it's a pretty good play. But also just Tonnoman's done a very good job clearing up his north very quickly. He's got the majority of the important flags. If he can just get some more anti-tank into that forest he's captured, he has to pretty easily shut things down. But the Stug 4 is proven to be a bit of a menace. T-34 is going to have to do his best here.
And he'll work at it, but I think right about now the Stug is going to be fighting uphill in that one. SU-152 also engaging. Yeah, I don't see this ending well for that Stug 4. The Stug Life, I think, is going to put him 6 feet under.
2-3-1's going to come in. I think he's going to try to get the rear shot here. The T-34 is really low on HP as well. Yeah, he's going around on the rear, some War Thunder stuff. Come on!
Circle strafe! Circle strafe! No!
Oh!
Back into the trees! Never mind.
Point blank.
Oh, boy. Pour some out for the homie out there. In the meantime, 231 up north. In fact, this might be the dying breed, the last of his kind. Engaging and clubbing that poor half-track, probably to death. Though the Mod Deuce puts an awful lot of suppression on him in the first place, which is just embarrassing.
Yeah, light armor is pretty light here. But his Stug 4s are just going to prove to be very important for Hypokrass. I mean, it's a nice thing about 17th SS is you may not get a whole lot of tank variety, but the Stug 4 is a very meta tank for 1v1 with its good gun, good armor, and reasonable affordability.
True. I'm sorry I was watching down south here as the Legionary have taken the forest. But further than that, old Teutoburger over here probably should have been defended by a couple of Legionnaires with an MG. Because see it happen right about now. Those Legionaries kind of coming up with that wall of bullets, and it doesn't matter how fanatical you are. Fanaticism does not stop that kind of firepower.
Yeah, and like the Panzer Grenadier Führer is eventually actually almost at the front line now. Only took him till the end of A phase, so good for him. But he needs just a little bit more firepower down south. He has a very nasty infantry force, but maybe a tank or two, some light 2-3-1, just something. Because if he can leapfrog into the next town, that just really opens up south.
Yep, I absolutely agree. But you were saying about the fact that you're surprised he definitely needs more firepower down south. But look back at the center again. There's a T-34-85. There's an SU-152. There's an infantry up the wazoo. There's artillery. There's all of this material. I think it's a very logical thing for Hypokrass to say, you know what? No, I cannot divert anything to the south. I have to hold this center.
Yeah, it's getting pretty dicey up here because it's a pretty critical moment. Because he's getting he's gotten close frontal trace, getting back into the forest here. There we go, we got Cluster Bomber coming on in. Stugford does go down, yo, so pretty heavy losses so far for Hippo, but he does get the T-34.
You mean, statistically, after you've dropped 28 bombs, you have a 4% chance of hitting with one of them, I imagine. But that was actually, like you said, a very, very important kill, and I think that's the thing to kind of focus on here. Mortar 3 engages and kills the Su-152, which is kind of a shock to more than just us, apparently. And the BF-109 is actually on the map. Unfortunately, BF-109, I don't know if he engaged... No, there was a rocket run on the machine gun, but other than that, I don't think anything else really happened there.
Indeed. And then the hill position just again slowly cleared up as Peary's pushing on through, getting the MG42. It's not exactly a great holding position, but if he could get reinforcements up on that hill, such as even a 45mm gun, that gives him a great two-ray angle of fire into the open plains, and that really just shuts down the northern side.
Yeah, kind of the Lutzen Heights of this entire idea, or the Pratzen Heights, I guess, not the Lutzen,
Yeah.
the Pratzen Heights. But there's an well, excuse me, I was saying an Su-76. Wow, let's try this again. A ZIS-3 up here, and you know, really, I think that's the 45 you want, actually, with adding an additional 30mm of penetration right there. So, I don't know. I think we need more men of that caliber on that hillside. That's all I can say.
He needs bigger caliber guns all over. U2 coming on in. Do some more reconnaissance. Probably see the BF-109 come in and try to snipe him. But at least Hypokrass is holding the far northern side pretty... Oh, he has a lot of U2s. The far northern side very effectively. The 233s and 231s holding the ground. And it's going to be hard for him to really push up any further. He could maybe get the flag all the way up north in the town. But even where he's at right now with his defensive line across the main road, going vertical, it's not a terrible position to be in. Well, apart from the fact he is down on points.
That's true. That's true. And those U-2s, you just have to think about them. They're all just flying over the map because they still haven't found what they're looking for. That joke probably appealed to about 2 of you out there, and I realize that, you know, several decades later...
You see, when I hear U2, I know it's like the bloody band, but I keep thinking of the spy plane.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's like
well,
that's shot over Soviet Russia.
But see, that was the entire point of it. So that's what the wordplay is. You know, if I have to explain it, it's not funny anymore. like an ogre. And parfaits. But 12.5 minutes in, I mean, Tonnoman is firmly in that driver's seat, which makes sense because he has more tanks than Hypokrass. Hypokrass just has assault guns, so what is he supposed to do here?
Yeah, the assault guns have been pretty bloody effective. Now into B phase, he does get some rather nasty ones. The Pak 43 anti-tank gun is actually very good on this map. There's no real IS-2s or crazy targets for him to blow up. But even just setting one up north, even in the open, it's not a terrible idea because it does allow you to get good long-range hits on T-34s.
True. I kind of feel like the biggest issue with that, though, is the Su-76s can put an awful lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Very, very easily, for that matter.
Oh, that Stug 4 is just getting pounded from all sides here. And this is just going to be the very tough part for Hypokrass, is you have no cover, the enemy has a bunch, the Legionnaires are pushing on through in the hill, the BF-109 comes in, gets a hit, so he is really trying to clap back, but the geography is really not to his advantage.
Yeah, I think a different thing is getting clapped here. I'm not sure if he's clapping with his hands. Just saying that the Tonnoman right now is putting a walloping over here in the center. Though, you are correct in pointing out that Legionary is slowly taking back that hillside, and I think that was a missed opportunity. I mean, you said a few minutes ago, Tonnoman throw a bunch more infantry on that hillside. Put some heavier kind of caliber guns there.
Yeah. I think really the best thing for Hypokrass is just secure the vertical road, secure the part of the hillside, and then just hold that area of the map, and then just try to put more pressure down south, because even with his initial probing attacks, it hasn't been a huge amount of reinforcement chain. He still has a decent force in the forest. If he can right through the southern end of the map, that could potentially flip over and this points disadvantage he's at, because that +2 is pretty deadly for him right now.
I guess the great irony of this is, well, first of all, TU2, so okay, that Legionary will, well, see that Death's Head on that Legionary? I think he's gonna be living up to that pretty soon.
Skulls on their hatch?
They're the baddies.
Oh no, but they were Italian.
Every Italian is never mind. Demonetized in the meantime. The Legionaries are now quite dead. Down south, though, I think we actually have an opportunity that could have been a great, great thing for a rocket run. I think you're right. The more that I think about a southern kind of hook, the better it could have been.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think we're just seeing greater and greater investments in the middle.
And it's just going to be tough because there's a lot of just crap in the middle now. So many T-3045s, SUs, the anti-tank guns, the anti-aircraft guns. It's pretty much turning into a Kursk defensive line.
That does seem certainly true. Now, I will say this is probably one of the rare cases when a naval warfare strike just for the sake of naval warfaring would have been a great call on that force. There's enough coverage you can get.
Oh yeah.
That would have been brilliant. And this way they have the dual opportunities of course, everyone's favorite thing of using an artillery strike to take out a single anti-air position. But it would have hit other things too, which is the doubly wonderful thing about it.
Like even far down south, a good neighbor for strike would open up an area. Just he needs some sort of heavy artillery to start actually grinding down his opponent. It's actually a really good opportunity for him to supply artillery in general. Because 17th SS is a very nice artillery selection. It's a pretty grindy map for it, especially with how the positions are right now. And he's trying to engage with more direct options, but the direct options are, well, a little bit dangerous.
That's true, but he doesn't seem to mind the danger. I think for him, his middle name is Danger, maybe his confirmation name, because we're seeing more and more infantry just being fed into these forests with a very, very, let's say, optimistic unload point. 3 of them down south, going to go right up against the Superiors with anti-tank grenades? I don't know.
And this 3's going to get a really good overlook here? Yeah, that's not going to go well for him without any actual support. Heck, just throwing in... He's got one Stugfall coming in far down south, but a little bit of Marder 3 spam down south would go a very long ways. That is such a cost... Like, the Marders in general are just so cost-effective in 1v1s.
But I have to love the multi-stage move that he's got going for the Stug. He is like, you know what, man? I do not trust your AI travel. I want to give you every direction known to mankind. Cannot do that, Dave. So yeah, brilliant. Honestly, I like seeing queued moves.
Yeah, and look, he's got an IG-33 as well as a flag fill-in coming in far down south. So he's starting to take this a little bit more seriously. He has been able to stabilize the northern lines a bit. And these U2s are just coming out in force. They are just spotting absolutely everything. I'm surprised we haven't seen like the BF-109 come out to try to shoot him down, or even just a flak 88.
Yeah, anything. Anything. Because we are in Phase B. I mean, we're actually almost out of B, which means we're going to go into the dry times. The times of just like tightening our belts. And there is your BF-109. 2 of them, in fact. Brace coming in. Taking out one anti... Oh, there you go. That's the second one. What's being deployed in the meantime? A Yak-3. Okay. Yeah, with all the extra ground fire, I think the BF-109s would be well expected to retreat.
Oh, wow. You two got the IG-33. That is such a good, like, cost-effective trade. Good God. Getting that shot down doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, kind of confused me to see that the IG-33, if you know the biplanes are still up, and you know they got firepower, you can't be really that aggressive with them. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, and we are seeing as well Hypokrass is trying to push onto the hill. He's got his Marder 3 spam. Yeah, just firing point blank into Tanko doesn't need keys, and there he goes, some infantry being brought in up to try to secure it as well. The southern push is going slow because, once again, the supply line situation is awful. There's no road position between the forest and him, so it's going to slow him down a bit. It's really not going to be till C phase when you can get this attack rolling.
That is certainly speaking the true. The Martyrs seem to think that there's no more PBIs in that forest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to go... Well, they might actually kill the T-34 point blank.
I think they're going to get freaked out too much by the Modus and the Automachiki being in there. Yep, and we're seeing them back up. Hey, but a rocket plane, that works. Have a rocket man going on in. We have 2 more squads of Legionary. And I guess that might be probably the best thing we can say about the later game 17th SS is that while your infantry can be a little bit dicey here and there, I'm looking at you, Volksdeutsche, and they're still strong. I realize that me saying that to something with disheartened probably, of course, is immediately having many of you frantically typing your comments. And actually, I can hear it from you right now here too there, Rang.
Actually,
Exactly. I can feel that the glass is being pushed up your nose in the meantime.
the suppression debuff is actually a bonus because getting suppressed faster means that they take less damage from machine gun fire.
Wow, you totally turned into an anime character.
I know.
But it's
like
you
the
too.
thing of like me putting the glasses on. It's like the little speckle in the sign of like the corner of the glasses.
The shing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Yep.
Shinji's father at Evangelion or something like that.
I need you
Hands-
to get into the Marder.
Exactly. No, Dad, I won't do it.
You must do it for the Reich.
Oh man.
Now go up the hill.
The Legionary is for. Wiedemann going on the hillside, probably gonna take out that half track. As the darkest, timelines version of anime gets written here. TU2 did come through, and the martyrs, one of them has given his life up for the Reich, getting blown into smithereens. The other two, for some reason, pluckily are continuing to charge on forwards, and they're going to run smack dab into... okay. Alright. Interesting. The rocket planes are much more active here than I had expected.
Yeah, he's getting some decent hits in, but, one does go down. But the problem is, they're only really, once again, like, direct fire, single precision units. And we really need to see Hypokrass bring in the Nebelwerfers, the big artillery guns, the saturation bombardment, because he's not breaking through these lines unless he just blows everything up.
True. Absolutely true. Now, down south, the Stroke has already gone down. Unfortunately, I don't even think he took out anything on the other side. He might have taken out a T-3045? Nope, there is not a single pillar of smoke other than that Stug. And in the center, we are down to a single martyr, and I have to say, kind of humorously, the T-3476 is now a Russian martyr, in that his turret is stuck. Which, oof. I'm not sure what killed that martyr. It wasn't the Zis, because the Zis was engaging, I guess, the guard.
I guess, yeah. But that PTRD.
Certainly does seem to be the case. It is 15-9, though. It's still sea phase. Now, does it mean that things are over? No. Does it mean that's a bit of an uphill battle? Yeah. Because the question now is, what do you do with the rest of this kind of scratch forces that you have on the map? And frankly, I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, I think Hypokrass is kind of screwed, honestly. There's not a whole lot of he can do up north quickly. And then if you want to get anything done down south quickly, the supply line situation is not exactly ideal. And he's just getting very much stuck on this hill. And this Tonnoman has really good fields of fire onto that hill. Because even though it's a very important position to hold, it's also a very exposed position.
Yes, it certainly is. But not to be outdone, the BF-109s come right back in, fearlessly engaging with their HE rockets. Probably going to get taken out here, but does take out the T-3476. So, if he does die, he'll die with Goering's fondest thoughts. Yep, there he goes.
Oh. It's a two-plane show. Maybe the numbers will save him.
Yeah, I find myself very much doubting that. At least one of these is going to die. The Ju-88 is just way too slow.
Yeah.
But hey, actually, wait a second. The 25 mil is out of shells, so there is a chance. Not a great chance, but a chance nonetheless that 1/3 of the ground fire is no longer quite as deadly. But, never mind.
No, he is buggered. I think honestly we'll just take us to times 2. He's
Sounds
not
good.
much he can do.
25, 25? 24, 25? Alright. And times 2. But folks, I mean, as we're kind of going over here into the twilight of the Reich, well, what is there to say? One of the things I guess to say is Stokes can only do so much, though I will say I have to agree with you. They certainly were plucky today. Unfortunately, they were very much outnumbered.
Yeah, Hippo really just needed to actually play heavier down south earlier on to try to get a breakthrough air, because he had a very good open air down south. He cleared it out very easily. But if you lose that far north side in that forest, and if you grind for a little bit and you don't really get any headway, it's really no point trying to keep grinding free. It's an absolute slaughterhouse of a location just due to how the geography of the map goes. If he wanted to do that, he needed like the neighbor for spam. Like, I'm actually really surprised we haven't seen him get neighbor werfers. He's been very, very focused on just buying more tanks, which just die in the slaughterhouse.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's 18-6 now, so the final moments as Tonnoman puts a lovely little hammer and sickle onto this. There was a single 88 on the northern side. Unfortunately, he got taken out at the end. Yikes. Look at that KD.
That's about right. He really threw himself into the meat slaughter.
You can see early on, Romanovsky over here for the T-34-85. That was picking off all the early recon vehicles, so, yeah, not that impressive perhaps, but still killed a Stug. An SU-152 Moskovsky, or sounds like something I should be seeing out of American Tail. And the 37mm picking up 2 BF-109s and Ju-88. So, shockingly enough, not many comrades really being that deadly. Just the right ones are deadly.
Yeah, and the losses, the 2-3 run in the forest got a heck of a lot of kills, good for him. The Pak-38 doing decently against the Avtomachikis, and that's really about it from the Vike.
Well, that's the thing, too, is if you look at the losses, we have a single Stoke that's got 3 kills, and that's really the biggest thrust of it. Congratulations on that. But when you're donating, 85 points every 30 seconds or so, that's kind of a tough pit to come out of.
Yep. We needed the neighbor werfers, man. We needed to see big kabooms.
Exactly. Or you know what? Even pick up a Ju-87 with the cannon. It's a cheaper option than the Ju-88. Yes, it's slower, but I feel like it's probably deadlier.
Yeah, it's good for just blowing up a single target. Especially T-34s, they're not super heavily armored, especially from the side.
Hey, even the SU-152s. But regardless, better luck next time, Hypokrass. Tonnoman, well done there, sir. Any final thoughts?
Ooh.
Folks, until next time, then, this is Conover.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.